Have you ever felt different, like you didn't quite belong, no matter where you were? Maybe you've been misunderstood, attacked for no reason, or felt things others didn't. What if I told you, those weren't flaws, they were signs, invisible marks only the chosen carry. And if you're watching this, it's not by chance, it's a calling, because the ones who carry these marks have a destiny far greater than they know. Are you one of them? Some people walk through life with something about them that's hard to explain. It's not about looks or talent, it's something deeper. It's like an aura, a vibration that resonates beyond the surface. These are the chosen ones, souls marked by invisible signs that only those with sharp perception can sense. They carry a higher purpose that transcends the ordinary, and even if the world doesn't see it, the heavens certainly do. From a young age, they often feel out of sync with the world around them. They're moved by things others overlook, like a quiet moment of prayer or the whisper of intuition that pulls them in a different direction. They don't chase fame or validation because their sense of mission is rooted in something much more profound, divine connection. Their authenticity is magnetic yet mysterious, and while others may see it as strangeness, it's actually a sign of alignment. There's a spiritual guide behind their steps, even when they can't see it. These chosen ones don't need to boast about their gifts. Their inner light shines through the way they speak, the way they love, and the way they endure. Their sensitivity is both a strength and a burden, making them feel deeply, dream vividly, and perceive energies that others dismiss. It's not always easy carrying this kind of perception, especially in a world that often rejects what it can't understand. They're often misunderstood, even rejected. But this rejection isn't a punishment, it's protection. God hides his most precious vessels until the appointed time. He refines them in silence, in isolation, to prepare them for transformation. You see, the fire that tests them also reveals their inner strength. These invisible marks are not for show. They're part of their spiritual DNA, marks of destiny, predestination, and divine orchestration. You'll often find that they carry a heavy sense of purpose, not ambition, but purpose. There's a difference. Purpose whispers when the world screams. It moves with quiet authority, not noise. These people know they've been called, even if they can't always define it. And that calling is what keeps them praying when others give up, keeps them standing when storms rage. Their dreams aren't just dreams, they're messages, warnings, invitations, revelation. They often feel like they don't belong, like they're out of place no matter where they go. That's because they're not made to blend in, they're born to stand apart. Their spirit resists mediocrity. It aches for truth, for alignment, for something more. They long to make sense of the mystery within them, the mystery that tells them you were made for something more. That ache is holy. It's God stirring the waters of their soul, calling them deeper. And so, their life becomes a journey of discovery. Every rejection leads to redirection, every unanswered prayer to a new revelation. And just when they start to question everything, God whispers again. He reminds them they're not forgotten, that those invisible marks, they're not in vain. In fact, they're just the beginning of something far greater. And those with toxic energy? Oh, they sense it too. But that's a story for another time. Have you ever walked into a room and noticed how the atmosphere shifts, even when you haven't said a word? The chosen ones carry a spiritual energy that speaks louder than any introduction. It's not about charisma or status, it's something invisible yet undeniable. Their inner light unsettles the darkness in others, and that's why toxic people, those driven by manipulation, pride, or control, often feel deeply disturbed by their presence. These individuals don't need to speak for others to feel their authenticity. Their mere presence is a mirror. It reflects what others are running from. That's why people with impure intentions recoil. They feel exposed. The chosen ones don't even try to confront them, but their very being is confrontation enough. It's not personal, it's spiritual. The light in them awakens what's buried in others, and not everyone is ready for that level of truth. Toxic souls operate in low vibrations, envy, deceit, and control. So when someone walks in carrying peace, prayer, and alignment with divine purpose, it disrupts the whole atmosphere. This discomfort shows up in subtle ways: passive aggression, false accusations, or sudden distance. Ever noticed how someone once close just fades away without reason? Sometimes that's not rejection. That's divine protection activating on your behalf. Even Jesus experienced this. In Mark 6, when he returned to his hometown, people scoffed, saying, "Isn't this the carpenter?" Mark 6:3. They were offended, not because he did wrong, but because his light revealed their disbelief, and so he could do no mighty work there because of their lack of faith. The same happens with chosen ones. Their vibration clashes with spiritual blindness. And where there's resistance, miracles are often withheld. The enemy works through people. Let's be real. Some attacks don't come from strangers, but from familiar faces. Toxic people may try to dim the chosen one's light with mockery, silence, or even betrayal. But each attack is a signpost. You're walking in purpose. The enemy doesn't waste ammo on those who pose no threat. So if you've been attacked for just being you, understand, it's because your light is stirring things in the unseen realm. But here's the good news. God never leaves his chosen defenseless. There is protection surrounding them like a shield. Psalm 91:11 says, "For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways." That divine protection doesn't mean storms won't come, but it guarantees they won't drown. The presence of toxic people is often a test, not a punishment. It reveals both the depth of your mission and the strength of your aura. So, if lately it feels like you're too much for some, or too different for others, rejoice. That means you're not blending in where God didn't design you to belong. It means your energy is waking up a space that's been spiritually asleep. And just when it starts to feel lonely, something unexpected begins to happen. A strange sense of knowing, a whisper of intuition, an awareness that something is about to shift. Have you ever felt lost, disconnected from who you truly are, unsure of God's plan for your life? The truth is, you are not here by chance. God has a purpose for you, and I want to help you discover it. That's why I created 3 ebooks that will transform your journey with God. Click the link in the pinned comment and start your transformation now. Some people just know. They can't always explain why, but deep down, something tells them when something's off, or when something big is coming. It's like an inner radar that others might dismiss, but they've learned to trust it. These are the chosen ones, people with sharp perception and spiritual sensitivity. Their intuition isn't random. It's a reflection of their connection to the divine. They move by a deeper frequency, one tuned to God's whispers. Their dreams carry messages. Their spirit feels the weight of rooms, the pulse of conversations, even the thoughts left unspoken. They may wake in the night with a racing heart or a sudden peace that has no logical explanation, but they've learned not to brush it off. Because time and time again, their premonitions prove right. It's not paranoia, it's discernment. It's a gift that develops through prayer, obedience, and spiritual alignment. Think of Joseph in the Bible. His dreams weren't just dreams, they were blueprints from heaven. He saw things long before they happened. Famine, elevation, betrayal, restoration. Genesis 37-41. At first, no one believed him. In fact, they hated him for it. But God was preparing him for a destiny far greater than he could imagine. Sometimes your sensitivity sets you apart, not to isolate you, but to preserve you for something sacred. This kind of perception isn't always comfortable. It can feel like a burden when others don't understand. They'll call you too intense or overthinking. But really, your spirit is just alert. You're reading the energy around you, picking up on things the eyes can't see. That's not weakness. That's a form of spiritual strength. When you learn to walk in it with wisdom, you become unstoppable because you move before the enemy even makes his play. There's power in this divine foresight. When God sharpens your intuition, he's not just giving you information, he's giving you protection. The nudge to take another route, the sense that someone isn't being honest, the push to pray for someone out of the blue, these aren't coincidences. These are moments of divine connection. Little glimpses of the spiritual world spilling into the natural, guiding your steps with heavenly precision. And here's where it gets even more real. When you start paying attention to those spiritual nudges, your life begins to transform. You'll avoid heartbreaks, dodge traps, and walk into blessings prepared just for you. But it all starts with trust. Trust in your inner light. Trust in God's voice. Because what you perceive, those sensations, that intuition, it's not just for you. It's preparing you for a higher purpose, a mission that few can carry. So if you've ever asked, why do I feel things before they happen? The answer is simple. You're chosen. Your spirit is aligned with a higher calling. And this foresight, it's not just a gift, it's a responsibility. Because soon this insight will be the very thing that protects you when the light within begins to stir up even greater forces around you. It's a strange thing, really. You walk into a place, smile with kindness, offer nothing but love, and yet someone's eyes narrow. The whispers start. The cold shoulders appear. No fight, no offense, just your presence. It's not what you've done, it's who you are. Chosen ones often carry a light that irritates the shadows in others. Their authenticity shines so bright, it exposes what others try to hide. And that's when envy slithers in. Jealousy doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it shows up in sarcasm, exclusion, or subtle sabotage. Ever had someone copy you, compete with you, or criticize you for simply being you? That's not accidental, it's spiritual. Your vibration triggers what's dormant in them. People who've silenced their purpose get bitter in the presence of someone living theirs. And instead of searching for their own light, they try to dim yours. In the story of Cain and Abel, God favored Abel's offering because it was given with sincerity. But Cain, his envy grew like a wildfire. Why him and not me? Genesis 4. That question, soaked in insecurity, still burns in hearts today. Chosen ones like Abel often carry purity in intention. They do what's right without the need for applause. But that inner light becomes a mirror, and not everyone wants to see their own reflection. Even Jesus wasn't exempt. The Pharisees didn't envy him because he broke rules. They envied him because he walked in truth with power. He healed, loved, forgave, and they couldn't stand it. Because while they had position, he had authority, and the same goes for you. Your aura, your alignment, your spiritual authenticity, it threatens systems built on pretense. You walk in purpose, and that attracts both favor and fire. But take heart. Attacks don't mean you're doing something wrong. Often they mean you're doing something right. The enemy doesn't bother people who are asleep, but when your faith awakens, your mission activates. And suddenly, darts come flying. That's not to scare you, it's to remind you you're in the right fight. And God, he always backs up those who walk in obedience. He turns every arrow into acceleration. So what do you do when the attacks come? You pray harder, you stand taller, you smile anyway. You don't shrink to fit into comfort zones God never assigned to you. Your energy isn't meant to be tamed, it's meant to transform. And those who envy you? Sometimes they're just confused admirers, too afraid to admit that your courage inspires them. Keep shining. You weren't born to be hidden, because behind every attack is a testimony in the making. And sometimes, right after the heat of envy, comes the cold wind of isolation. And that's where God begins the next part of the story. There's a quiet ache that many chosen ones carry, a feeling of always being a little out of place. It starts young. While others find belonging in crowds, they find solace in solitude. Their thoughts go deeper, their questions pierce further, and their heart beats to a rhythm most can't hear. It's not arrogance, it's not rebellion, it's spiritual distinction. Their soul was never designed to conform, it was set apart for something greater. Fitting in was never part of their destiny. They were born for authenticity, not assimilation. But that doesn't make the journey easy. Imagine walking through life like a puzzle piece that doesn't quite match the picture. Churches, workplaces, even family gatherings. Something always feels different. And while others thrive in groups, the chosen often feel like exiles, not because they're unloved, but because their spirit is being trained in the wilderness. Moses knew this feeling. Though raised in Pharaoh's palace, he was never truly one of them. His calling was too loud, too holy, too different, Exodus 2-3. God took him out of Egypt before he sent him back to it. Why? Because to lead people to freedom, you must first learn to walk alone. Chosen ones often experience this same preparation. Isolation isn't punishment, it's God's strategy for revelation. It's in those lonely seasons that spiritual depth is forged. They begin to notice signs, sense energy shifts, and discern things that others overlook. Their intuition sharpens, their perception deepens. They begin to understand. The feeling of not fitting in was never a flaw. It was a compass pointing them toward purpose. It was God pulling them away from noise so they could hear his whisper more clearly. This is why they often feel drawn to nature, prayer walks, or quiet spaces. Their spirit craves divine connection more than social validation. And though they might long for belonging, what they're really looking for is alignment. Alignment with destiny, with their mission, with heaven's timing. They were not made to blend in, but to build something new, something eternal, something anointed. But here's the twist. The more they grow spiritually, the less they desire what the world offers. Parties become prayer nights. Small talk turns into deep conversations. Their soul outgrows shallow soil. And this growth only widens the gap between them and the crowd. But they no longer fear it. They start to embrace it because they've tasted what it means to walk with God, and no imitation can compare. Still, every path of isolation eventually leads to an unexpected gift: recognition. Not from the world, but from those pure of heart, children, animals, creatures untainted by ego. Somehow they just know who the chosen ones are. And that's where the next part of this journey begins. There's something pure about the way children and animals react around certain people. They don't need logic, credentials, or explanations. They just feel. And when a chosen one walks into a room, the little ones notice. A child will stare in awe. A dog will wag its tail without a reason. A cat might curl up nearby. These beings, unfiltered and intuitive, are drawn to energy, not appearance, and the chosen carry an energy that whispers of heaven. It's not just charm, it's connection. Kids and animals are spiritual sensors. They live close to the unseen. While adults may be blinded by ego or skepticism, children still hear the melodies of the spirit. Animals still respond to vibration, not status. And when they feel the aura of a chosen one, they respond with affection, trust, and sometimes even protectiveness. It's as if they're saying, "We see the light in you." Jesus himself valued this connection. He said, "Let the little children come to me, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." Matthew 19:14. That's no small statement. He recognized that the purity of a child's heart is aligned with the divine. So when children flock to you or feel safe in your arms, it's not random, it's spiritual recognition. They see your inner light, your authenticity, your unspoken kindness. And then there are the animals. How many times have chosen souls found comfort in a pet during their loneliest seasons? A dog resting its head on your lap when you're hurting. A bird appearing in your path when you've asked God for a sign. These aren't coincidences. They're gentle reminders that you're not walking alone. That even creation itself is testifying to your divine connection and your higher purpose. People often underestimate how these moments validate your mission, but the truth is, those who walk in the Spirit radiate a frequency that creation responds to. Romans 8:19 tells us that creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. Even the earth knows who you are before you fully do. The animals, the sky, the stars, they've been waiting for your alignment. So the next time a baby reaches for you or a stray cat follows you home, don't shrug it off. It might just be heaven's way of affirming you. That inner strength, that intuition, that spiritual sensitivity you carry, it's not going unnoticed. In fact, it's drawing even more than attention. It's drawing messages. Because those who are deeply connected often begin receiving signs, especially in dreams. For the chosen ones, sleep is more than rest. It's a sacred doorway. While others dream in fragments and fantasies, these souls often receive divine messages through vivid dreams, prophetic visions, and unmistakable signs. They wake up with impressions that cling to their spirit. A voice, a symbol, a scenario they can't shake, and deep inside, they know. This wasn't just a dream, it was a message, a glimpse of something heavenly. The Bible is full of moments where God spoke through dreams. Think of Joseph, whose destiny was revealed while he slept, Genesis 37. Or Daniel, who interpreted the mysteries of kings, Daniel 2. Or even the wise men who were warned in a dream not to return to Herod, Matthew 2:12. For those chosen by God, the night is not silent. It's alive with spiritual downloads. And when your heart is aligned, your dreams become part of your divine connection. But it doesn't stop with sleep. God speaks through everyday signs, repeated numbers, sudden memories, a verse that jumps off the page, or a stranger saying exactly what you were just praying about. These are not coincidences. They are coded communications from heaven. And those with spiritual sensitivity, those marked by a higher purpose, learn to discern them. It's like receiving divine mail written in the language of intuition. Sometimes the signs are so personal it's hard to explain. A butterfly landing during a moment of grief. A song playing right when doubt creeps in. A dream that aligns with scripture you read days earlier. These moments are fingerprints of God, gentle nudges reminding the chosen that they are never forgotten, never abandoned. They are surrounded by guidance, watched over by spiritual guides, and carried by prayer. It's important, however, to seek confirmation. God never contradicts His word. That's why the Bible remains the lens through which we interpret dreams and signs. As 1 John 4:1 reminds us, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God. The chosen learn to balance faith and discernment, remaining open to the mystery while grounded in truth. Over time, their life becomes a conversation with the divine. Even silence begins to carry meaning. A delay, a closed door, a sudden peace in the storm, all become messages. And as they grow in faith, they begin to understand something powerful. God is not distant. He's involved in every detail. He's always speaking. The question is, are we listening? And for the chosen, listening often leads to something even greater. Because when they pray, things happen. There's a distinct authority that rests upon the prayers of those who walk closely with God. Their words are not just expressions of hope. They are declarations of faith, spoken from a place of deep spiritual alignment. When these people pray, it's as though heaven stands at attention. Their connection with the divine isn't built on emotion or religious performance, but on relationship, intimate, consistent, and full of trust. and from that connection flows a power that moves mountains. Scripture confirms this truth in James 5:16. The prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. For the chosen, prayer is not just a duty, it's a lifestyle. They pray with the certainty that God hears, and more than that, He responds. They've seen illnesses healed, doors open, peace restored, and even impossible situations turned around. Their prayers are not empty rituals. They are spiritual forces, sent with precision and fueled by purpose. We see this power in the life of Elijah. With a single prayer, he commanded the skies to withhold rain, and they obeyed. With another, the rain returned. 1 Kings 17:18. Elijah wasn't powerful in himself, but in his alignment with God's will. That same principle applies to the spiritually sensitive today. When their lives are marked by faith and obedience, their prayers become instruments of transformation, both for themselves and those around them. And it's not about eloquence. Some of the most powerful prayers are the simplest. God, help me. Lord, be near. Father, I trust you. God is not impressed by grand speeches, but by hearts that seek Him in sincerity. That's why even their weakest prayers carry strength. Because they don't pray to impress. They pray to connect, to surrender, and to align. And from that place of humility flows a divine strength the world cannot comprehend. Even when doubt knocks, they continue to pray. Their strength is not the absence of fear, but the decision to trust despite it. They've learned that the most miraculous breakthroughs often happen in the most broken moments. Their prayers are soaked in tears, silence, and surrender, but also in victory, because they know that every word lifted in faith rises to a God who listens, who sees, and who answers. With time, their prayers extend beyond themselves. They intercede for families, communities, and even strangers. Their heart reflects the heart of Christ. Compassionate, bold, and unwavering, their prayers become a covering, a shield, a lighthouse in the dark. They know that they are vessels through which heaven touches earth, and they take that responsibility seriously. It's not pride, it's obedience. So when these chosen souls pray, things happen. Not by their might, but by the Spirit of God working through them. They are witnesses of grace, carriers of divine energy, and warriors in the unseen. Their prayers echo into eternity, shaping lives and destinies. And through every answered prayer, they continue to walk in faith, knowing that with God, nothing is impossible. If one, or more, of these hidden marks resonated with you, don't ignore it. This is your moment to step into who God created you to be. Start by praying with intention, watching for divine signs, and walking boldly in your purpose. What mark do you carry? Tell us in the comments. Your story might confirm someone else's calling. Don't forget to subscribe, enable notifications, and stay connected, because this journey of faith and revelation is just beginning. You've seen how God marks His chosen, but what happens when one of them is deceived by love? In the next video, uncover the shocking betrayal that brought the strongest man to his knees, and how even in failure, redemption still finds him.